Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order on October 10th, 2017. Lindsay, would you mind calling roll?
Commissioner Abraham?
Present.
Commissioner Holland?
Present.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson? Mayor Harless?
Present and here.
Thank you.
Commissioner Holland, do you mind leading us in the invocation?
Dear Lord, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Give us a spirit of service. Help us see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us and to treat all persons with the reverence they deserve. We seek a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is good and fitting, and the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement. Amen.
Ma'am.
Thank you. If you'll stay seated, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to its republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. City Manager, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I had intended to ask Fire Prevention to come forward in my report to share some information on an activity that they have coming up. It'll be very brief, so I'd like to ask your indulgence and allow them to come up at the beginning of the meeting.
Excellent. Okay. We have a proclamation tonight, and I think someone's here to receive the proclamation. Hello, come on up. I'm going to read this, then I'll come hand it to you. How about that? All right. You guys can stand at the podium if you want to. Okay, so whereas women in education constitute a great portion of the nation's working force and are constantly striving to serve their communities and nation in educational, cultural, and charitable programs, leading to harmony, happiness, and peace among all people. And whereas major goals of Alpha Delta Kappa International Honorary Organization for Women Educators are to give recognition to outstanding educators, to build a fraternal fellowship among educators, adding to their effectiveness in promoting excellence in education, to establish high standards of education, to promote educational and charitable projects and activities, enriching the lives of individuals everywhere and assisting these individuals into happy, constructive, and fulfilling lives. Now, therefore, I, Brandy Harless, Mayor of Paducah, Kentucky, do hereby proclaim October 2017 to be International Alpha Delta Kappa Month. Thank you all so much for being here.
Yeah.
Okay, fire prevention presentation.
Greg Cherry. And April Tinsman.
Good evening, everyone. We just wanted to update y'all real quick on the upcoming Fire Prevention Code Conference that we have next week. We started this will be our 6th year. The first year when we started it, we had 89 people show up. This year, we already have 289 signed up for the event.
Wow.
We've added a lot more classes this year. NFPA is coming in to do a class on hoarding, public education. We've added a sprinkler class and 2 more firefighter classes. Their sponsorships are way up from what they had been. That's how we pay for this event, with a sponsorship. And we have people coming from Louisville and also Kingston, Tennessee. Along with that, the State Fire Marshal's office, the State Fire Marshal will be here, and a few other officials from Frankfort. So we would like to invite y'all if y'all would like to come by during the event. We appreciate the city manager's support for helping us put all this event together.
And this is for contractors and everyone who want to participate, right? And understand what's changed and what's...
Right. There's this year electrical class will be the changes for the 2017 NEC, which the state's getting ready to put into effect here before long. So that'll be covered, fire alarm class, sprinkler class, building code class, and firefighter classes.
Wow, excellent.
So,
I hope we have a lot of contractors signed up for that. Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
May I mention
absolutely.
one thing, Madam Mayor?
Please.
This not lost on this conference is the effort and indeed the leadership by our department to help bring about consistency in some of the code applications amongst towns in the immediate area, which can be an issue if people encounter different ways of going about things. So that was one of the main drivers behind this, I think it's accurate to say. Right. And just the fact that we have almost 300 people attending this shows what the buy-in there is for that, and I think the effectiveness that is starting to be felt from community to community as more consistency is being gained as a result of this initiative.
Correct, and let me mention that registration is still open, and when April printed this about 4 o'clock, it's gone up about 10 or 12 people since she printed this, so we're still getting a lot of people signing up for it.
Great, and you can sign up where?
It's, you can, inside that brochure, there's the website for the City of Paducah. They can sign up there or call our office. Either
Okay,
way.
so City of Paducah website's a good place to start.
Right.
Great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Excellent. Okay, moving on. We have a consent agenda in front of us. Items on this agenda are considered to be routine. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the board member show requests. Anyone have any requests to remove any items? All right. And now we will ask Lindsay to read the items considered on the consent agenda.
Minutes for the September 26, 2017 City Commission meeting. Reappointment of Bill Paxton to the Paducah-McCracken County Riverport Authority. This term shall expire September 26, 2021. Receive and file documents. Personnel actions. A municipal order amending Section A, General Government of the fiscal year 2017-2018 position and pay schedule for the full-time employees of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, to increase by 1 the position of Administrative Assistant 3. A municipal order amending Municipal Order Number 1998 entitled A Municipal Order Approving and Adopting the Comprehensive Health Insurance Benefit Plan Premiums for calendar year 2018, including premiums for optional dental and vision care for employees of the City of Paducah, to raise the Delta dental premium rates for 2018 in order to increase employee annual maximums from $1,000 to $2,000. A municipal order accepting the bid of Central Paving Company of Paducah Incorporated, utilizing the first deductive alternative for the Noble Park Tennis Court reconstruction project, and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for same.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Holland?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Mayor Harless?
Aye. All right, Commissioner Abraham, you have an adoption of an ordinance.
I do. I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance extending the boundary of the City of Paducah, Kentucky by intent to annex certain properties lying adjacent to the corporate limits of the City of Paducah and defining actually the boundaries of said properties to be included within said corporate limits. This ordinance is summarized as follows. Approving the intent to annex certain tracts of properties contiguous to the present city limits located at 2909 Lone Oak Road and at 2835 Maryland Street, containing 9.9 acres more or less.
Second.
Any discussion? Lindsay?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Holland?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Mayor Harless?
Aye. Okay, city manager.
Tonight, we have brought back to you the matter of curbside recycling and yard waste and brush collection modifications. So our team has continued to work on this for the last 3 or 4 weeks since we were last before you. That team consists of Rick Murphy, Chris Yarber, Michelle Smolin, and Pam Spencer. So as promised, the group is back before you tonight with some refinements going forward. And I believe Pam is going to be the primary spokesman tonight. Excuse me. Come on forward, the whole group, I think.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I have several different items to talk about tonight regarding curbside recycling and the yard waste and brush collection. There's actually going to be 6 different things I'm going to talk about tonight: the single stream curbside recycling, leaf season, solid waste collection routes, grass clippings, brush collection, and then what are our next steps for action. So we're going to move through these, and as I'm going through them, if you have questions, just stop me and ask the question, that's fine. So starting off with curbside recycling, as we go back to what was discussed September 12th, we talked about a commitment statement. Basically, we're saying the City of Paducah is committed to providing a responsible and efficient curbside recycling program that enables our community to make a positive impact on the environment. So that's our commitment statement. As we've moved forward, we've created a logo that will help everybody recognize when we're talking about curbside recycling. We made sure to put single stream curbside because those are part of our program components that are very important. What single stream means is that you don't have to sort at the household level. You can put everything that is approved into your rollout, and then the sorting is done during the processing as it leaves Paducah and it goes off to the processing center, which is in Hopkinsville. The other major component is this is curbside. We're talking about taking your rollout to the curbside or street side, not in the alley. And then the rollout itself, that's a picture of what the rollout's going to look like. It's a 96-gallon rollout. It's going to be royal blue with a black lid. So the logo kind of tells part of the story. So our program assumptions that were adopted on September 12th. The program starts in January. Residential service only. We're not looking at commercial service. We're looking at residential service. Voluntary subscription. This is not mandatory. This is voluntary. We mentioned that there would be a fee in the $3 to $5 range, and the collection at the curbside or street side, not in the alleys. That's so that we can gain the efficiencies by using the sidearm collection trucks, which are very difficult to use in the alleys just due to trees and the tightness of the alleys. And the collection would be twice per month. A few more of the assumptions. We would be using the 96-gallon blue rollouts, and this would require some changes to the brush and grass collection program, which we'll get into that just a couple of minutes. And this program is intended to maximize our existing resources, such as our existing fleet, our existing personnel, the approved budgeted personnel, through our program efficiencies, including participation by residents. And the participation is the partnership that we have with the residents. As I get into the grass clippings and the brush, you'll see what the partnership means, what we're asking our residents to do to help us to maintain these efficiencies. So what are some of the program policy information points that we need to bring forward? Well, the fee recommendation. On September 12th, we said somewhere between $3 and $5. We're recommending $3 per month for a single 96-gallon rollout. And if a family wants more space, if they have a lot of recyclables, they can get an additional container. It'll just cost them an additional $3 per container per month. So where did we come up with this $3? The $3 has 2 basic points that make up the fee. We are paying more to dispose and process the recyclables than the solid waste. Our fee is about 15% higher per ton to process the recyclables rather than take the solid waste per ton to the landfill. And I think a lot of folks need to understand that recycling used to be a money-making type organization. It's not as much now. It takes a lot more to process it and move it off. So there is about a 15% higher cost. Also, we have a capital investment. We have to buy these rollout containers. So we're looking at more than $200,000 in purchasing rollouts. So those 2 points are where we came up with a recommendation for the fee. Well, looking at the cost to our customers, right now we have a $16.50 per month solid waste fee. That's what all the customers in the City of Paducah pay for solid waste. Adding that $3, if they choose to recycle, it would be $19.50 per month. Paducah Water, we're working with them because our solid waste billing comes through on the Paducah water bill, and we're looking at having them add a separate line item on their bill for curbside recycling. So how do we compare to other cities? We did reach out to other cities across the state, and it's very difficult to compare apples to apples because every program is a little bit different than what we're proposing. Everybody puts their fees in different formats, but the way that we could compare it was to look at cities that offered curbside recycling, look at their total cost that they're charging customers for solid waste and recycling together. The cities that we reviewed, most of them, there was one outlier, most of them charge a total fee between $16.99 to $20.75. And we are looking at our charge of $19.50 for solid waste plus recycling together. I thought I heard a question.
You heard Rick behind you.
Oh, yes, we do. We have a compost facility. Many other cities do not offer a compost facility. We have a compost facility which basically recycles, about 25% of our solid waste that comes through the city. You start thinking how much brush that goes to the compost facility. Our recycling program, we're looking at a collection on Mondays, twice per month. So recycling day would be on a Monday. And we will divide the city in half based on solid waste collection days. So we'll look at, we have 4 days per week that we collect solid waste. So we're going to take 2 of those days. Half of the city would be on the first and third Monday. The other half of the city would be on the second and fourth Monday. So you just have to remember first and third or second and fourth once we tell you which day you'll be. Some cities do it just every other week, and if you have a month with 5 Mondays, then it starts getting a little bit more confusing of what day that you'll have your recycling. We figured it was just easier that if you always remember you're the first and third Monday or the second and fourth Monday. So there are some months with 5 Mondays, and so for us on those months, that gives us an opportunity to catch up on some other things going on in solid waste. Some of the other details that we're looking at, the rollout is going to have the city seal and the recycling logo on it, and it is a blue rollout. Also, we are working on a sticker that's going to be on top of the rollout. It's almost the size of a piece of paper. It will have the logo in the center and then a list of yes items and no items. So we want to make sure that our recycling that we're collecting is as pristine as possible. We don't want rejected tonnage of recyclables. We want to make sure that what we're sending to the recycling processing center is exactly what they want. So we encourage rinsing. The recycling processing center wants things rinsed. It just makes for a nice, cleaner environment. If you've got cans, you can crush the containers, things like that. Also, they would love to have, say like the plastic water bottles in front of you. They have the little paper label on there. They'd like to have things with the paper label removed. It's just try to think of the easiest way for them to process it. So that's what they're encouraging for us to do. And I'll give you the yes and no list in just a second. Some of the other program details, we're working on the sign-up options. So when folks want to sign up for curbside recycling, they'll be able to do it by phone by calling the Engineering and Public Works Department. And we are working on an online database system that we're partnering with GIS so that people can do it online, and once it goes online, it will populate on a solid waste map so that we can immediately work on the routing. So we're trying to make this as efficient on the front end as possible, and GIS has been a great partner in that. We're looking at the sign-up beginning sometime in November, once we have our online system ready to go, with the program beginning in January. Now, we are looking at the delivery dates for the rollouts. Hopefully the rollouts will be in plenty of time for us to have this program start in January. I think that would be the only caveat. And the sign-up is ongoing. There's not going to be a deadline to sign up for curbside recycling. It's going to be going on all year long. So if somebody next April says, hey, I want to recycle, call us, sign up. So it's going to be ongoing. And the recycling drop-off location that we have existing with 400 State Street, that's Freedom Waste, it's going to stay open as well. So folks, if they just want to haul off the recycling like they've been doing, they can continue to do that. That's not going to change. So the accepted items, this is what Freedom Waste accepts. They accept aluminum and steel cans, all types of paper products, from office paper to shredded paper, catalogs, junk mail, newspaper, all those types of things. Cardboard, pasteboard, which pasteboard is more like the boxes, cereal boxes, any kind of food box that you get that you have to kind of rip the glue apart to flatten it. That's called pasteboard. And the number 1 and number 2 plastics, which are most of the plastics that are kind of like the food plastics, water bottles, laundry detergent containers, things like that. They're very common. What they don't want, and this is what's going to be on the sticker on the top of the rollout, no electronics, no batteries, no medical and household hazardous waste, no styrofoam, tires, glass, and plastic bags. And you probably wonder, why plastic bags? Plastic bags can be recycled, but they're encouraged to take them back to where you got them. Say, like if you go to Walmart, Walmart has a recycling container where you can take your bags back and push them back in there. The reason that a lot of these single-string processing facilities don't want the plastic bags, they shred and get in the gears, and they clog everything up, and it's kind of like a hairball stuck in your vacuum cleaner. You got to try to pull it and rip it out of there.
That's a good analogy.
Which I have long hair, and I know exactly what that's like. So the plastic bags do the same thing to the gears at these processing facilities. They are recyclable, but for single-stream curbside, it is difficult. So as you're putting things into a recycling rollout, just put them in individually. Throw your milk jug in there. Throw your water jugs in there. You don't have to put them in bags. So we want the 96-gallon rollout just filled with all the items, not necessarily plastic bags. Any questions about curbside recycling? That was the program in a nutshell. Any questions? Okay, the next topic is leaf season. We've had some calls and concerns about leaf season. We're not looking at changing it at all. The program for leaf collection in Paducah starts in mid-October and it goes until about the first of the year. And it's a partnership between our street division and our solid waste division to canvass the city and going around picking up bags of leaves. And then those bags of leaves are taken to the compost facility. That's going to continue just like it always has, and we're about to gear up for that because leaves are falling as we speak. The next program is our solid waste routes, and so I just put up a generic map. Since we're looking at efficiencies, one of the main efficiencies that we're looking at is adjusting our solid waste collection routes because they were not even. We have collection for residential customers Tuesday through Friday. We're going to continue that Tuesday through Friday. However, some folks might see their day shift by one day. So you might be a Thursday customer, well, you may shift to Wednesday or Friday, and we'll be going through an education process for those folks. And the reason that we're doing it, out of those 4 zones, we didn't have even collection amounts. We had one day that had about 2,800 cans collected, and Friday, for example, had 1,700 cans collected. So our crews were not being efficient in trying to get to everything because some days they're rushing around trying to get all those 2,800 cans, and then on Friday, hey, that's an easy day for those crews. So let's try to make it even, and it'll make it easier for our guys to make sure they're collecting everything. So this is just another opportunity for us to be more efficient. So we have figured at about 1/3 of our customers will see their day change. It's 3,110 customers, and they'll only see their day change by one day. It'll slide just one day, and it's mainly the middle folks, like the Wednesday and Thursday folks, will see their day maybe change, and we'll be getting that information out to those folks through flyers, through the website, social media. Each household that's going to see a change will have a notification on their rollout plus a flyer to their house. Any questions about the routes? I'm going through a lot of stuff here. Okay, the next topic, grass clippings. At September 12th meeting, we talked about, to gain efficiencies, we were looking at ceasing the collection of grass clippings. Well, we've made some modifications to that. And you'll notice on all the upcoming slides, the very bottom of the slide says this is a partnership opportunity with our citizens. We are asking our citizens to help us in doing the disposal options for grass and for yard waste. So for grass clippings, here are the options that we're going to present to our citizens. Try to mulch your grass clippings as much in your yard, either with just a mulching blade on your mower, or if you don't have a mulching blade, sometimes just running over a section of the yard twice will grind it up enough that it's just going to filter down into the yard. And a little bit of those grass clippings actually do provide nutrients for your yard. It's not harmful to the grass to have some of that mulched grass on there. So that's one option. Another option you can place your grass clippings in your trash rollout, not the recycling rollout, the trash rollout. So if you bag some of your grass and you've got just 1 or 2 bags, try to get them into your trash rollout. That is perfectly fine. You can take your bags yourself to the compost facility, especially folks who have a pickup truck or a trailer. You can take them to the compost facility on North 8th Street. They'll happily take them. But we understand some folks may have a yard that you generate quite a few bags of yard clippings. If you've got a larger yard, a lot of grass, we're making some sort of adjustment for those households. So we picked a number. If you have at least 5 bags, you can call us, and it's going to be a call-in system, and then we'll come out and do the collection. It's no additional charge, and we'll collect it within 5 business days, hopefully sooner, but we have to give some sort of number to this since we'll be writing a policy behind all of these things. So if you have at least 5 bags, you can call in or go through the website. We'll be creating a little web portal there where you can make your request then. And we're also looking at changing it to where bags need to be curbside or street side, not in the alley, so that we can use our more efficient sidearm trucks. I have a few pictures here regarding grass clippings. This is one of our no pictures. We are asking folks to help us, since we are working through our stormwater master plan. Go ahead and start thinking about stormwater drainage in the city of Paducah. We also are a Phase 2 MS4 city. That is a municipal separate stormwater system. That's what the MS4 stands for. We have federal regulations that we need to maintain. So we're asking folks, don't put the grass clippings in the gutters or the ditches. You can see this homeowner kind of blew the grass out into the ditch, and as the rain comes, all that grass is going to go down into the storm drain. So we're really wanting everybody to help us. That's one of those partnership opportunities, and it was a great opportunity to talk about stormwater drainage. Here is another no picture. You can see those 2 bags of grass are right over an inlet. If something happened and those bags tore apart, all that grass is going to go straight into the storm drain. Also, it's just 2 bags. So try to get that into your rollout if you can. That's one thing that we would not be picking up now with our crews. We would be asking you to try to manage at the household level. Here's a picture of, I think it's about 7 or 8 bags there. This is a situation where definitely call us. We will send our crews out to pick it up. So this is a call-in situation. But if you're not calling in with volumes like this, we're not driving around and looking for it. So we're really trying to base this on a call-in so that we can quickly route our crews to where they need to go, and they're not just hunting for bags of grass like Easter eggs. So that's a good one. That's a check mark. Call us. Any questions about grass clippings? Okay, moving on to brush. Brush, you start thinking of tree limbs, like say you dug up a shrub, larger items that you would have maybe in your yard. So what are the options for folks on brush? Very similar to what we're thinking about with grass clippings. If you have a small amount, if you have a few limbs, or if you've trimmed one shrub in your front yard, try to put it in your trash rollout. You can probably get a lot of little limbs and little bits of a shrub into a trash rollout. It's got more space than maybe you think when you start pushing it down in there. You could take it to the compost facility. Once again, we do have this wonderful compost facility that is known across the state. We are a model for other cities in how we handle our compost facility, and residents can take as much as they want there of brush and grass and limbs and things. So take it to our compost facility. Our guys will gladly take it and turn it into a very wonderful product. You could store some of the limbs on a section of your property until you get a good sized pile that you would want to call us for. So you could maybe store it in a corner. But when you've got a lot of brush, this is when you need to call us. So what is a lot of brush? Well, we had to give a size estimate. So it's about 1 cubic yard. Now I'll show you some pictures of what that means. If you have about 1 cubic yard, give us a call. Call the Engineering Public Works Department or go online when we have that set up. You can have no additional charge. Our crews will come out and pick it up. Usually they'll use the knuckle boom, which has that large claw, and they'll pick up the big pile of limbs. We're hoping to get everything done within 5 business days. And we're asking that everything's curbside, street side, so that the knuckle boom can easily grab a hold of the limbs. So what is a cubic yard? It's about 2 wheelbarrow loads or about the size of a rollout. So if you kind of picture the size of one rollout, that's about what the knuckle boom really can easily grab. And this is a picture of a good one. You actually can see a rollout behind that pile of limbs. The knuckle boom can easily grab that. And all these pictures are from the City of Paducah. This is, our crews went around and found these pictures. Here's a couple of more of the good ones that definitely the knuckle boom can get. The top one has a bunch of limbs. The bottom one's a mixture of some, looks like some leafy limbs, and we can easily get a hold of those. So what are the no pictures? This is what our crews are seeing. Small amounts that it's just not real efficient for our folks to have to stop to pick up a tiny amount. Those amounts could easily be put into a trash rollout or wait until you have a bigger pile. So the bottom one there is just looks like a small limb off of a magnolia tree, and the upper part just looks like a few little clippings. So we're asking for that partnership again. Try to manage this at the household level. But if you have the large pile, call us. We'll pick it up. A couple more of the no pictures. The top picture, just a few little limbs. The bottom picture looks like some leaves and looks like one bag in the middle of those leaves. That could be managed through possibly the trash rollout. Any questions about brush? The next topic is just the next steps.
I have just a quick question. Presently, what's the process if I have some brush in the yard, looking at the I don't know, bottom left-hand corner right here? How are we handling that now?
You just wait for him to come get it.
There's
You guys wanna answer
no
There's not a call-in necessarily.
Right now, Commissioner, it's random. For example, this is what we've talking about over the past several weeks about the inefficiency of this, because our citizens will do a weekend yard cleanup, and then they'll move it to the front of their yard, and then we have Monday is known as our brush pickup day. Well, we don't know who's cleaning their yard, and then on Mondays when our crews go out, and they're actively looking for piles rather than knowing where the pile is and knowing where to go collect it. And that's the biggest change, is where we're out randomly looking. Now we'll be pinpointing, and we'll be able to go out and find the piles as they're being called in.
So presently, if I have a large pile, and even though, you know, and I call because it's been out there a minute, what's the turnaround, you think?
The turnaround, our target turnaround is 5 days, 5 business days.
Okay, all right. So if it's been 3 weeks,
Now, I'm going to tell you, we have that right now because we don't have people calling in. And we have another condition too, where people will collect and pile it somewhere where it's on nobody's property. I can take you to several places where there's just big piles that's in no one's front yard. And then we have that situation. I guess the goal here is that once we know where it's at, it's our goal to collect it within 5 business days. Hopefully, once the public education and everything is all taken care of, this will be much more routine and streamlined than what we have now, which is, for lack of better terminology, what we're doing right now is an Easter egg hunt, and that's not efficient.
Well, you're gonna be making fewer stops.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly.
And then also, the expectation is that we would be dealing with piles of this sort in lieu of the piles that are sticks. I mean, we have that as well.
I have a question about the next steps. I'm sorry, were you finished?
no.
Go ahead.
She hasn't presented that yet, Sarah.
Well, it's sort of about,
Oh,
anyway.
go ahead, Commissioner Abraham.
Well, I don't bring that up
Okay.
randomly.
Sure,
I've
sure.
had folks call,
Sure.
and there's large amount of brush out in their yard, and they said, we call you guys, and, you know, I'm always included in that. You guys, that's us, right?
Yeah.
We
always wear the same
and and they get, I don't know who they talk to in the department, but it's been out there a while. I mean, a lot longer than 5 business days.
Oh, absolutely.
And a lot longer than a couple of weeks. So I told the folks, I said, we'll look into that and find out what exactly is going on. So that's why I asked that. So our guys, we need to have folks call in prior to this being implemented, and we'll get out there and we'll get the brush.
Yes.
If it's not in no man's land.
Well, we have a lot of things, a lot of challenges, because right now we're taking on more responsibility. We're taking on, to collect recyclables 4 days out of the month. So it's going to take some working together with getting this, because my staff, they've heard me complain on several occasions, Commissioner, that every day I hear our staff responding on the phone, our crews are running about 3 weeks behind. They're always running about 3 weeks behind because we never catch up. And then this is something that we're working on, because we don't know the size of the pile. Is the size of the pile this, or is it some sticks that we're looking at? Because we're at the caller's behest of what is the size of the pile, because we don't go out and evaluate the pile. It's just, there's a pile there. Now, I will be the first one to tell you, there's some large piles out there that's got grass growing to seed under it, and I agree 100% with what you're saying. This is where we're looking to improve.
Richard, to answer your question, we welcome the call now.
Yeah.
So we know exactly where it is. They're welcome to call now, and we get those calls when something's been out there a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They call and it helps us know where the piles are, and we get to them quicker that way. Just the Easter egg hunt is what's the inefficiency and that's hurting us right now. We can't cover, Monday is brush day. We can't cover the entire city in one day to pick up everyone's brush, and that's what they've been led to believe that we can do.
It would seem to me under this new plan that by people calling in and saying, look, I've got a adequate sized pile of brush, they will be much more likely to get it picked up in a very timely way, just because we're not just out rolling around looking for a brush. We're going to go specific point to point. And I can see an algorithm where we, like a Google map, we would go, connect all these drops and pickups to be very efficient. It would seem it's a great opportunity.
Another thing that we've recognized is that our solid waste crews go to work at 4 in the morning. And that's our commercial drivers as well as our residential drivers. And when you're actually out there and you're looking for this material, if you can't look down a block and the only thing, the field of view is just your headlights, then your field of view is not very far. So if you don't drive by it and see it, and rather than look down a block either way. So we're also looking at adjusting the time of day in which we collect for residential, which is between 7 and 3:30, which makes it safer for our drivers. They're not working in the dark at night. And then also curbside becomes easier, because now you don't have the resident parked at home still sleeping, waiting to go to work. So there's that opportunity for them to go to work. Then curbside is open because their car is not out curbside at 4 o'clock, and it's there at 4 o'clock in the morning, but it's not there at 8 o'clock in the morning because they've gone to work. So
I have a question for Rick. I guess that's what I should have said. So when you have all these signups, let's say in November, and you get the rollout, the blue recycling rollouts, and you deliver them, and then what happens with the additional signups that trickle in? You're just going to spot
they get
them?
added to the participants. The voluntary participants will be a living, breathing volume.
Right, but how are you going to get the rollouts to them?
Well, they'll come in, and then once we get a call in, then there'll be a work order to go deliver that that to the site so they can begin participating.
So you're going to purchase this, like you're going to project how many might participate, have those on site, so you're not waiting for a shipment of recycled
Mayor,
bins.
it's now this is where the prognostication is difficult. Using the statistics that we've got of other communities, we've seen anywhere from as low as 30% participation to 37% participation. However, your citizen survey indicated that there could be as many as 50 to 67% that would be willing to pay that. So as we to pay an additional fee for curbside recycling. So as we start looking at the prediction, we are actually going to order 40% of our customer base, which is about 3,600 rollouts. Now, if we're overwhelmed with, as these things trickle in, because we're going to be placing in around a $200,000 order, if not north of $200,000, to get these things in here, because that's going to be, you know, and then you got to have the supplier. Can you make this deadline? Because we're looking to roll this thing out in January. So we're looking at that. So we're going to get that, but in the event that we get them in and we distribute, and then all of a sudden we have another 500 customers that say, I want to participate. We may be on the, you know, we may be depleted, and then we may have to make another order. The one thing we don't want to do, these things are $50 a piece. We don't want to have 1,000 of them sitting out in Public Works doing nothing because there's $50,000 that's out there. So, so we're trying to balance inventory with participation. So, and it's a guessing game right now, but we have to place the order well ahead of our knowledge of this, because if we wait for the participants, then we won't be able to roll the program out in the time in January.
So another question, how are you thinking about doing this in the apartment complexes?
Thank you. I do realize that.
It's a work in progress. Come on up here, Chris.
One thing with apartment complexes, it depends on who pays the water bill, who pays the refuse charge. If it's the landlord, then they're the only ones that can make changes to that water bill and say, yeah, I want to provide recycling because I pay the water bill. So a tenant can't call and say, I want recycling if the landlord hadn't agreed to pay for recycling. So there's a lot of different scenarios with that. A lot of apartment complexes use dumpsters. So it's not even a rollout that they use for the service, so it won't be provided. That's considered a commercial account because they use dumpsters instead of the rollout. So it just depends on, duplexes should be fine, certain things, certain situations it'll work, and others, it's a work in progress.
But you will have but you have the drop point in Littleville.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly. I mean, for the apartment.
And that will be,
dwellers-
does that remain at no charge?
Say no charge at
Okay.
drop off.
For the apartment residents and dwellers, as Chris stated, each one is different. And it's you know, as a I guess an incentive for you to rent, we pay the water bill, okay, as well, but the trash is on that. Whereas others, like some newer apartments that come in, they have trash compactors where they're actually compacting all of it. So it's kind of a you know, I guess a dog or whatever. You don't know what it is until you're there. And then there's some apartments that have rollouts, but now if you were to put a rollout for 200 units that already has rollouts for 200 units, you have a farm of rollouts in the apartment complex, and then that becomes unsightly. So
I suppose it's possible,
Yeah.
as we experience that something might be worked out between the residents and demand, if you will, to the apartment manager, and then we find some way to accommodate that on a larger scale with a dumpster, I would assume, right? That's the likely scenario for something like that.
Great. Yeah, actually, I'm on the Housing Authority Board, and we were talking about this, as how can housing authorities participate? And so I was kind of hoping the thought would be, well, situation by situation by situation, there might be some opportunities in the future
Yeah,
to
and
do
I think
that.
we're
So,
gonna be highly reliant, and the residents are gonna be dependent upon the cooperation and willingness of the management of those
Management,
complexes
yeah.
to make it happen with
Yeah.
us.
And just an example with the housing authority, there's some of those locations that they have rollouts for each resident, and then there's some locations that have dumpsters, so even the housing authority will have different, for each location may be different.
yeah. Great. Ready for next steps?
Well,
All right.
Okay. Okay, next steps. Several things. We have to receive our recycling rollouts, have to attach the stickers and get those delivered to the households that sign up for recycling. So that's gonna be a big process over the winter and right around the holidays. We are partnering with Paducah Water for the billing. So since this will be another line on their bill, they are going to have to work with their third party to make sure that they can add that field to their billing system. Well, you start thinking about, that is our partners, Paducah Water for the billing. So we do have to work with them to make sure that they can get this into their system. And they said that shouldn't be a problem, they just need to work on it. We're working with GIS to set up that online citizen request system, which would be for recycling as well as for brush and grass clipping requests. So GIS is working with us, so we've got to finish that. There will be a municipal order that will need to come before the Paducah Board of Commissioners to set the curbside recycling fee if $3 is what is determined. That is what is recommended, and that would need to be adopted by municipal order. Also, our solid waste ordinance needs to be rewritten to incorporate curbside recycling and our changes that we have outlined for brush collection and grass clippings. It's an ordinance that's been around for a while, and it needs to see some updates. So that will need to be coming out in the next few weeks as well. And then the last thing, spread the word. We have a lot of public engagement to get the information out, from curbside recycling to the changes in the zones for solid waste, in addition to the changes for brush and yard waste. Lots of different avenues that we'll be using to get the information out, but we're going to be relying on some of our community partners as well, word of mouth, and then everything from stickers to flyers, videos, social media, all of those wonderful tools that are out there today. I think that's the last thing that I have. Thank you, guys. Any additional questions?
Good job.
That's good. Thank you all very much. I do have a few things that I wanted to ask. In the citizen survey, here's what I'm getting to. My end is about the fee. Okay, so I'm getting to. In the citizen survey, when there were 60-something% who said yes, we pay some money for that. Are you confident that our citizen survey was representative of a diverse group of income, socioeconomic status residents? Are you confident that it was very diverse in that situation?
It was diverse, and it
Okay.
was a statistically valid survey with
Okay.
the percent that we received.
Are we able to drill down into a little bit more aggregate data of the people in a certain income bracket? What was the percentage in that?
Yes,
Are we
can
able to
pull
do
that
that?
information
Okay.
for that question too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
would really
can.
appreciate that, because one of my biggest concerns is the equity of the program. And if the real reason for doing this is to commit to a responsible and efficient curbside recycling that enables our community to make a positive impact on the environment, then I'd like to make sure that we're able to do that among people who don't have discretionary income. Because I know in these kind of programs, most people who participate are participating with discretionary income. So, but I'm glad somebody mentioned the citizen survey, because I hadn't even thought about that again, just to see what that response was. I'd like to know.
Okay, I can pull that data, and it will have, because it breaks it up by demographics. So you'll be able to see
Excellent.
the percentage for a certain household income ranges, age ranges. It pulls all that data.
Great, okay,
So I
thank
can
you very
forward that
much.
to everybody.
Yeah,
Yes.
I need to see it before I'm comfortable adding the fee, for sure. And the only other thing I was gonna say is I have always been impressed of the composting facility, and I don't know that we've quite seen that in our community as a recycling program. We've kind of just seen it as a composting program without the name recycling on it. That's right. So it's a really large recycling program. So definitely, you guys deserve credit beyond credit for putting that in place many years ago. So I like the idea that we're kind of starting to, the narrative is becoming, okay, we're just enhancing our current recycling program we already have in our city by adding the curbside option. So kudos to you guys, and this was great.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Questions, thoughts?
Good.
No?
No.
All right. Thank you. Anything else, Jeff?
That's all I have. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Great. I have one question that I was going to ask about. It spurred my memory because we talked about the tennis court reconstruction today. But we had talked about with our capital improvement projects that if we did not get the money for the Fountain Avenue sidewalk and street repair, that we would put that capital improvement money that we had left over towards that project. I wanted to see if that's where we were still.
Well, we've not obligated it otherwise, and that is one of the items that our new director of planning, it's on her list, but John and I would have to revisit that, but we've not reallocated any capital monies that were left unappropriated in the budget.
Okay.
So the other aspect of that, and it's nice to have a little discussion about that project, because, we had a grant for $700,000, I believe, that, constituted a program of work there that we believe the residents there are expecting to happen. So we have kicked around some about how we might go about that, maybe in phases rather than a single trust, and maybe doing some of it through the street department funds as well. So why don't I bring back some information, perhaps a proposal on that shortly, because we do need to get that strategy figured out for sure.
Great, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Anyone else have any comments? No? Okay. All right, we have a few public comments here tonight, and I think the majority of them are our friends in the front row. That's what you guys are going to start being called, the friends in the front row. And I do want to say, since you guys have been here a couple times, if we can limit our responses this time to about 2 minutes apiece, if that's okay. I don't like to do that, but we've heard from you a couple times. So, having said that, my first one is Robert. Would you tell me your last name when you get up here? I can't read your writing very well.
Okay.
I can barely read my own writing, so.
Okay, my name is Robert Lee Zirkle Jr., Z like in zebra, I-R-K-L-E. I'm a retired Air Force veteran, did 22 years, 6 months, and 23 days. And I'm here to speak about the resolution you had for a Veterans Day Parade, where it came up and said the only flags going to be allowed was going to be the U.S. flag and nothing else. If you're going to do that, you need to change a parade from Veterans Day Parade to just a parade, because the flags that go in that parade are the Kentucky flag and the POW MIA flag. And that is all the people that did not return from overseas from any combat. If they're prisoners of wars, they didn't come back until John McCain, he did come back. But we all said, if you ever seen the flag, it's a black flag with a white circle, the silhouette person, a guard tower, and barbed wire on the bottom. And we all took an oath, we'd never be left behind. So if you're going to do the parade, I would appreciate if you change it from Veterans Day, because no veteran in their right mind is going to agree to that.
Thank you. I do want to make a clarification, because I think this has gotten really confusing. Where did Jeff go?
He had to run
Oh.
get something.
And Mark's here, but I think there's been a little bit of confusion when we say the United States. What does it say exactly? I don't have it in front of me. I think there was confusion. The resolution specifically was talking about flags that are flown under the American flag, the United States flag. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate you. It specifically says flags that are flown. Let me read this. Limit participation to only those groups who represent veterans of the United States Armed Forces under the flag of the United States. Mm-hmm. So the idea is that groups that were declared, right, to fly their flag under the flag of the United States. Mm-hmm. That was the difference. That was, from my understanding, when I read this to the people who brought it to us, that was the understanding. So as long as that's being done, then that is the case.
Okay. I guess that's a matter of opinion, because all flags that are flown is the POW and the Kentucky flag is flown below. Whereas there's other flags, like Congress approved us, the Sons Confederates, in 1900 and 1958 as veterans, same as Union veterans. So we're all equal, so we're all veterans, regardless of where we fought or how we fought.
So the only thing I'm going to push back on a little bit, because
Okay.
I have been told this a million times, and I have
Okay.
tried to do my own understanding of this as
Okay.
well.
Mhm.
So I was kind of thinking to myself, okay, which sources of information are out there available to figure this out? Well, there's always the 1950-something law that was passed that was something about widows and pensions and those kinds of things. And that one is blurry. I think we can all agree that's a blurry one. It's not exactly clear. So what I did was I said, okay, who in the United States, what organization or effort is designating what we do to follow in the Veterans Day? So I looked at the United States government's Veterans Day parade site.
Yeah.
And they list 5 or 6 different wars. The ones that none of us would disagree were fought under the United States. That's what they list as the celebratory wars that we are honoring.
Okay.
So that was my driver. If that's the highest level of decision making that we have, that was the source that I was using to pull that information down from.
Okay, could I show you something?
Absolutely, yeah.
This is all information, United States operation, all done by Genesis Congress. The one in 1929. So it's like first Congress approved that. So this is everything that comes out, made here by veterans, regardless. We're all U.S. citizens.
I wish you had the language for those right here.
Can I ask you a
I'll
question?
look them up.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you aware of any United States military cemeteries where they fly the Confederate flag?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I know four.
Okay.
4 cemeteries of flag.
Can you provide me with that list, please?
Yes, ma'am, I can get it to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
regardless of what happened,
Thanks, Alan.
we all fought under the same flag from Revolutionary War to now. At the time, we broke away from England because we didn't like what they were doing. The Civil War came up, North and South, they didn't agree with what was going on, fought, South lost. Okay, we all came back together again, and we should all be treated the same way. I mean, I served United States Air Force. I did 22 years, I served my flag, I served my country, I protect everybody in this room. If you're not a veteran, you've never been in the military, you don't understand.
I don't understand, but I want to say thank you. I do. I've said thank you to every veteran because you deserve a huge thanks and appreciation for fighting for us. Every man in my family almost fought in some war, and I thank you so much for your service. I do. And this is nothing about your service. This has nothing to do with your individual service. We are honoring your service at the Veterans Day Parade. That is the direct intention of having this event.
Okay, I understand that. And as long as the POW flag is there, okay.
Yeah.
I won't fight it, but there has got to be some where everybody comes to an agreement, to agree to disagree.
That's right. I agree with you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Okay, I broke my 2-minute rule, so I gotta keep it, guys. I'm sorry. Michael Swinford.
Madam Mayor, City Commissioners, Mr. City Manager. Bear with me, the dog's been mean again. I have a short essay I want to read, and then I have a proposal to put before the Commissioners. During the bloodiest battle in the Civil War, a Union chaplain happened to meet a Confederate chaplain, and they began to talk. And the Union chaplain said, "We got one of your boys over here. He was wounded today, and he's only got a few hours to live." So the Confederate chaplain wanted to know more about this young man. So the Union chaplain said, "His name is Billy Joe Edmonds, and he's from Mobile, Alabama. And he had both his legs shot off, and he's only going to live a few more hours." So they asked the chaplain if there was anything he said or requested or wanted. The Union chaplain said to Confederate chaplain, "No, but he's a learned man. He's a man of letters. He's had education because he related something to me, and I'm going to relate that to you now." Will they remember us? From within the struggle of our nation we now lay dying. The flower of our youth has been slashed down. Our final sacrifice, so great, is not yet complete. Though it is over, it is not yet finished. By their authority upon the debt of freedom paid in full has been written, yet it is not finished. Can only the shackled understand freedom, its value and its final cause? To whom do our debts belong? Surely not unto us. Do they not belong to those who live free? Can anyone but them attach a label of meaning? Did we die for national peace, a new season of hope, or did we die for nothing at all? These things we cannot say. It is you who must decide and say, "We will lay our debts upon your conscience. Take them, appraise them, and give them their meaning. We are in our youth. We are dying. Remember and honor us." If you keep Sons of Confederate Veterans out of that parade, all the honor that these men belong is going to be washed down the sewer with the grass clippings. I have a proposal to make. You can do with it what you choose. I wouldn't propose that the Sons of Confederate Veterans be the very last float in the parade. 2 car links back from the last unit in the parade. That would give people time to see they're coming. If they're offended by it, they can walk off. They can walk to their car. But you would honor everybody that's connected with it. And I don't really think you're going to, there may be 5 people walk off, but that's all. That way there is no more division. There is no more recrimination. There's no more negatives associated with it because everybody gets what they want. And you have a choice whether you want to see their float or whether you want to ignore it or whether you want to boo. Well, that'd be your right. You'll have that opportunity to do any of those things. But that way our soldiers will be honored. Even though they fought and they lost, we still remember them. And someday you're going to sit next to them in heaven and explain why that you would not let them be honored. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Michael. Craig?
Mr. Mayor, I appreciate the opportunity to have the opportunity to speak tonight, but in lieu of what's been said tonight, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate you.
Rain check.
Okay. You're granted a rain check. Well, I know that, I do want to say something because I know that there has been, and thank you, Robert, for bringing up the confusion because I've heard that is trickling around. And so I appreciate you bringing that up so that we could clarify. But I do want to make sure that I get to say to everyone sitting in this room, whether you believe it or not, it's my intention and my heart that I am thankful for any of you who served in any of our wars. As I said before, many of the men in my family have served in one way or the other. And I would never take that for granted, the freedom that we have today. And as we come up on Veterans Day, I think it's really shedding a light on that service. And so I'm thankful for each of you, for each person who has served us. And I want to make sure everyone understands that and knows that because that is very important to this city. It's very important to this commission. And I know we all are thankful for that. Anyone else want to make any comments, say anything? No? Okay. With that, we have an executive session.
Yes.
Commissioner Holland, please.
I move that the board go into closed session for the discussion of matters pertaining to the following topics: proposed or pending litigation as permitted by KRS 61.8101C.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Holland?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Mayor Harless?
Aye. And we'll be back to adjourn. Thank you all for being here.
I just wrote your name. Are we supposed to sign it?
Yes.
I just wrote my name.